Hello, you lot, and welcome to Fit Enough. I am Matt.
And I'm Sai, and in this podcast we make fitness simple.
This is episode 3, and we're coming to you not live from Da Nang.
Da Nang.
We're in Da Nang. We got here. Did we get here yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got here yesterday. Very nice, big fans of Da Nang. We've explored a little bit, we've done some work while we're here, and we have this evening and then tomorrow, and then we move on to Hoi An. But we thought, why not take this opportunity to record episode 3 of Fit Enough? And we're going to talk a little bit about exercising while traveling or exercising while on the road, because it seems very apt that we do so. Tell me, Sai, how have you found it?
Yeah, it's always a challenge to fit in your normal exercise routine while travelling. And I'm definitely someone who knows I'm just going to feel so much better from doing exercise. So I know it's important to me to make sure I'm enjoying my holiday or just enjoying life and just feeling myself. But it's always hard. So I think I've sort of done this enough times now to know that I'm never going to sort of have my same level and same routine. It's always adapted, but I think we've been doing pretty well particularly considering the amount of travelling, the amount of time sitting on buses and trains and planes. We've been doing pretty good.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think as long as the intention is there, then you will strike that balance between what's enough, and what then starts to impose upon your holiday or your work trip or whatever it is. But you're really good at. I don't think I realised this until we went on holiday for an extended period, and you were like, "Oh yeah, I enjoy exercising. I know I'm a better version of myself when I exercise, therefore why would you not do it on holiday?" And I was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm the same, but for some reason you think that holiday should be you're flat out horizontal the whole time, relaxing, or maybe exploring but a different kind of activity to what you're used to at home. So then it never really came into my mind that it was something you would do to benefit you on the holiday, not get in the way of it.
I think this also just goes back to that whole idea that exercise is punishment.
Yeah.
And so therefore when you're on holiday you should treat yourself by not exercising. But I hope, and I think now there's the message that exercise is part of self-care it's more common now. But yeah, I think that's a huge thing where actually, when we were in Malaysia last month, the receptionist at the hotel we were staying at, she was showing me to the gym. She's like, "Oh, you're exercising while you're on holiday. Oh, you're gonna look so good in that dress." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." But yeah, just going because it makes me feel good. And she was like, "Wow!" And she just couldn't believe that I actually enjoy exercising. And it's not that I enjoy the act of exercising in the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sort of quite neutral about that, sometimes negative about that, particularly at the start. But normally the exercise itself is pretty neutral, and then it's feels so good after, which is what I probably exercise most for on a day-to-day basis.
No, I completely agree. You do it at home, why would you not do it while you're on holiday as well? But we set ourselves up quite well, didn't we? We brought some decent bits of equipment, little prop for the podcast.
A massive one as well, which you might
you'll see on the ground. So we brought resistance bands. I wouldn't have usually, but I brought these little parallel bars, just that help you with your grip, because I've got a wrist injury, so we brought that as well. And I think that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah. Vietnam has been so good for outdoor gyms. They're everywhere, particularly in our lovely hometown, Cao Bang.
Yeah, because we came fully prepared to be doing these like hotel workouts using body weight and resistance bands, which is all you need. We'll come on to that. But what we found is, everywhere we've gone has had one of those like outdoor fitness stations.
Which is quite basic, but it's like all you really need to get a good workout in. And they're quite, I don't know, like in London we were saying you never see people use them really. Like it's more like you associate it with older people, and it's more just moving your joints through a range of motions, of like swinging the legs, twisting at the hips sort of thing. But they get really well used here, and it's amazing. Like it's such like a good thing to be just moving your body to be able to keep all of that function. So I've been pretty impressed with that.
We're saying here it's been really interesting to see the different approach that people have to like health and fitness compared to, I guess, would you call it like the Western approach to health and fitness?
I guess so, yeah.
But it fits in very well with like this idea of being fit enough, of like keep moving your joints, stay physically healthy and active, but there's no need to like keep trying to push things beyond the limit. Like if you're healthy, if you're active, you're moving the body as it should be moving. Yes, you can have goals and ambitions, it's great to have that, but in terms of just staying healthy, they seem to have a really good approach here of like just getting out and moving, doing it as a group as well, which has been really good to see.
Yeah, particularly with the women, there's like every morning and evening you see like a massive group of women just like doing some form of movement together, some form of dance together. There's a really nice feel there. Sometimes you get men joining as well, but it seems to be mostly the women, which are saying is like a similar thing back in Australia and the UK as well. It's like mainly women that will do the class-based activities, but still like men who overall do more exercise, which is really interesting.
So I wouldn't say that's necessarily like helped us stay active, but it has been cool to almost be a part of that temporarily. You have the locals twisting around on these fitness station apparatus next to us using our bands. It's been quite a nice atmosphere.
It feels less weird just exercising like on the street. Because like they're literally just like in the middle of the street. It's not like in a park or they're just like in the most random places. Some of them are a bit more like covered, but it just seems pretty normal. Whereas I don't know, back in London, if you had one like in the middle of Holloway Road,
just be ripped to pieces. And then alongside that, like sport seems to be very much a part of the everyday life here, which I guess it probably is back in the UK, but because of the weather it doesn't allow it to be as visible, outdoors. Whereas here, like whenever we really go for a walk, we'll be seeing volleyball or badminton or
that kicky thing. What's that?
Oh, like almost like a hacky sack type of sport. Pickleball we've seen, football. So there's always lots going on, which obviously if you were struggling to stay active while on holiday, it's a nice little boost to be like, oh yeah, I'm in a very active like population at the moment. Why not just get in a little bit myself? So that would definitely help if we needed it, but we don't. So I wrote these 3 kind of tips in a blog post, bit of a blogger, kind of based on our first few days in Hanoi, as to like how you can actually keep moving and maintain your current level of activity so that you're not going home after being on the road, as I said, whether it's traveling, whether it's a holiday where you're just in one spot, or whether it's things like a work trip or whatever, where you go home and you don't have that feeling of like, okay, I guess I better start working out again.
Starting from zero.
and then all of the things that come along with a holiday of maybe like
not having the buffet anymore every morning.
yeah, no buffet, and so maybe you've been eating slightly more like sugary and salty foods. You're probably quite dehydrated, whether it was a boozy one or just because you've been traveling, and that makes it a lot harder. Yeah,
and not wanting to go
tell
to
me
the
about
toilet.
it. And so you're getting back in a certain mind frame, but also a certain like physical state where it would then be very difficult to get back into things. And you go away and you don't particularly want to like, obviously we know that you're not going to lose anything in a short amount of time in terms of like the strength you've gained previous to the holiday. But it's a nice idea that you go on holiday, maintain or even progress in terms of your strength and your activity, and then you're coming back in the same, if not a better spot. And I think the 3 tips I took from our first few days was to keep it short, which we can get onto, squat, hinge, push, pull, which is a good like formula to use. And then the last one was doing it early, which I think we've managed to achieve once.
Yeah, and regret that also sometimes often it's just not been possible with having various bits on in the morning that we need to get done.
No, this trip has been slightly different, but if you can get it in early, we can get onto that. But what do you think about the whole keeping it short and sweet for exercising while you're on holiday?
Yeah, I think that's such a good way to make sure that you are consistent with it, and that you can fit it in and it doesn't look daunting. So whatever short might look, so it might be 20 minutes, might even just be 10 minutes. Again, schedule it in your diary, or sort of mark when you're going to do it in the day, and then quite often, or maybe sometimes, you'll find you've got more time and you can do a longer workout. But I think knowing you've got a short workout that you've already sort of planned, you know what you're going to do, and committing to that will just give you a really good baseline to make sure you do like enough to keep you sane and happy while you're on holiday.
Yeah, because I was trying to think of like what the obstacles were to working out, and it's this idea that it's another big thing that you have to fit into your day that you definitely don't really want to be doing in favour of other things on holiday, whether that's relaxing or whether your holidays are more active, you're travelling like us. Adding another thing into the mix that doesn't fall under like the holiday umbrella inevitably puts up obstacles. So then you're putting yourself in a very tough position by saying, I have to exercise and it has to be an hour long, and it has to be this level of kind of intensity for that hour. So you can really help yourself out by just making it short and sweet, like giving that 10 or 20 minutes your all in terms of not necessarily intensity, but effort, because it's a short amount of time. And then being able to say, yes, I've done a workout for the day. Now I can go on to my priorities for the day, which are, I don't know, traveling around, hanging out by the pool, doing something with your kids, etc., etc. So it's this idea of it doesn't need to be this daunting, looming task. It doesn't need to get in the way of anything else, and you can still definitely fit it into your day.
And I also think people often have a fear of like what you were saying earlier, is like, if I don't exercise, I'm gonna like lose it all. But it's also the same for like the intensity. You don't have to do the exact same intensity and amount of the length of the session or the number of reps and sets that you're doing back home in order to maintain sort of strength and fitness. There's like a lot more research to show how resilient our bodies are on keeping it, keeping that fitness and that strength for quite a while. And you only really need to do, maybe, I can't remember what it was exactly, but it's like one set at a similar sort of intensity. If you were used to doing like 5 back home, over, I don't know what it was, like 2 to 4 weeks or even longer, you'll still sort of keep the strength that you have, which I think is amazing. So it just goes to show you really don't need to do much. And I think getting into that mentality where I've got like a sort of quite a large period of time where I don't need to do the same that I was doing, so to keep at least to keep the your strength and fitness, I think is quite a helpful way.
Absolutely, yeah, I totally agree. Right, number 2 was squat, hinge, push, pull. So this is kind of like a very simple formula you can use to construct a workout. So if you're not one of our clients, or you're not following 20-minute strength, what a crazy choice, first of all. But also you're going to have to create your own program while you're on holiday, right? And so a really easy way to do this is think about these 4 movement patterns, and just pick one exercise that goes for each movement pattern. So that's 4 exercises per workout. If we combine that with point number 1, that's 10 to 20 minutes of work. So a couple of sets, maybe 2 to 3 sets, and then you've got your workout.
Yeah.
So then all you need to do is select the exercises that fit into that category of, let's say, for the squat category, you're doing a banded squat because you brought your resistance bands along, well done. For a hinge, you're doing like a banded good morning. For a pull, you're doing
a pull apart.
Amazing. And then for a push, you're doing, I was going to say it on 3, but you're doing a push up. So yeah, 4 exercises covering the 4 main movement categories. And if you put that together in a 10-20 minute workout, you are most definitely maintaining what you kind of built back home in terms of your strength and fitness. You reckon?
I reckon. I don't think I've got anything to add to that.
Amazing. Number 3, what did I say? Morning. Yeah.
If you can.
So the first few days, the reason I said this, the first few days in Hanoi, we were exploring a little bit in the morning. I think we're just kind of getting acclimatized to the whole traveling nomadic lifestyle situation. Trying new foods or whatever. Then the afternoon, probably started work in the morning through the afternoon until like 5, half 5. And then like we were in Hanoi, we wanted to explore as much as possible, but we had still told ourselves we were going to do a workout. So then it's at 5:30, which is peak, like you want to go out and experience where you are.
Yeah, well, because the sun sets at like 6 o'clock.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely a factor. And you're like, workout time. And it just, like, we still did it, obviously. I think in part because we had each other being like, are we still going to work out?
Yeah.
But you have created enough of you specifically, you've created enough of an obstacle in that situation that your workout becomes less and less likely to happen. So again, why not make it easier for yourself by putting it first thing in the day, knocking it out. You've done your 10 to 20 minutes, squat, hinge, push, pull. You're then sitting down to a coffee and breakfast, and you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day. In theory, this is what I was saying.
Yeah.
In reality, it's very tough.
Yeah. So we ended up having, I think it was mainly like traveling. So we had a few like taxis and like night buses that we needed to take, and then we were just with all our stuff, and then we had to wait till we could check in. So we were just in coffee shops and so on. So it just wasn't practical, but the mental fatigue of having it like loom, it feels like such a small thing to say it like drains you, but I think it does, having something you should be doing, or you know you want to be doing, but then the longer you put it off for, the more tired I think we get, like not just physically but like mentally, from all the decisions we've had to make in the day. And then by the time it gets to 6-7 o'clock, I think we've just been like, look, we're going to do it anyway, so let's just do it. But like it was so easy, I think, if I was on my own, to be like, I'll save it till tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and I think because then even when you get it done, in the morning and in the evening, which does show good resilience. So a pat on the back for that. But there's a risk that it's just not your best possible workout in that given moment. I'm not saying it has to be like a stellar workout every time, but going into a workout first thing in the morning and being like, this is great, I'm getting the body moving, and then I can get on with my day and do all the activities that we had planned, is a much better headspace to be in than like, for fuck's sake, I've got this workout to do that I told myself I'm going to do, let's just get through it. And then like you're approaching things in a much more negative position, which means psychologically you're not getting the most out of it, but also physically there's a bit more of an injury risk. Maybe you're not getting the most out of each and every set and rep that you're doing. So I think it has that detrimental effect on the impact of the workout as a whole in terms of your strength gains, as well as just like the psychological fatigue that happens as well.
And I think that's not to say working out in the evening is inferior to working out in the morning, but to the point where it's like, if you've sort of scheduled it in for the morning, which we do recommend when you're sort of on the road and have like lots of other things that you just would rather be doing, having that sort of then just looming over you to be like, oh, I should be doing it, that, it all adds up and makes it just a bit more pressured and taxing, like you say.
Hilariously, after this we are working out, aren't we?
We're just squeezing it in, and we will do it.
We'll take photographic evidence. Anything more on exercising while away?
Any bonus tips beyond the 3 you shared?
Bonus tips, well, bringing bands would be a good one. You can definitely get a good workout in with just body weight, but
just see what Matt's been doing with this monster band.
The bands definitely help. I think that's probably it. What else would make it like as easy as possible to get those workouts in? Having a workout partner?
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh my god! Yeah.
I think it can be like really awkward if you're, let's say you go on holiday with your mates or with family, and like no one else is like working out, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go and do my workout. I'll see you after breakfast or whatever it is. But if you get people to join in with you, like it just makes it so much more fun to do. It makes it less awkward, and it's like more motivating. There's more like levels of accountability as well.
Yeah, because then you also bypass the inevitable, like if you're going to work out by yourself, you bypass the inevitable like, whoa, look at you, staying fit on holiday. You think you're so much better than us. Whereas you get everyone involved and elevate the group.
Party.
But yeah, even if you can get your partner involved or just one of your friends, if you're on holiday with friends, it'll help you out a lot, and it'll help the...
Yeah, and often people want that push as well, so even though someone hadn't like planned.
Yeah, true.
So there's been a couple of holidays that I've been on with my gal pals, and like, oh, I'm gonna work out, like, and other people are like, oh, like I'll join as well, and it's been so nice. And I guess people might not necessarily like would have done that without you or someone like driving it, so it can be a nice thing to try and motivate other people to get moving as well. Yeah,
be the example that you want to see
the world,
something like that.
Like, be the change you want to see in the world.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
I think that was Gandhi, maybe.
Was it? Bloody hell, what a note to end on.
There we go.
All right, guys, next one is going to be on, I can't remember, so I don't know why I've set ourselves up for that one.
You didn't know what this one was going to be on.
Well, this one was improv. This was like, we're on holiday.
Yeah.
Let's have a little chit chat about that. But yes, lots of love to you all. See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.